Hey, what's going on, everyone? My apologies. I did mean to start at 7:30, but when your technology has other plans, the plans change. So I wanted to come on and do something about the investigation. I saw something very, very interesting from John U. Bacon. I trust what John U. Bacon has to say about Michigan football pretty much more than anybody else. So I have a piece here. It is short. I'm going to read it. I told Marmar about this. If he wants to come up, then he can come up if he's still here. Let me text him. If not, I will wrap up because I started late and I have to get up early in the morning. So he was the first one in here at 7:43. Readings by Dom. Thank you for stopping through. Thank you for being here. Everybody, please smash that like button. Let me know what you think about any of this. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Shout out to Bo Lytle. Respect is earned. I am knocking on the door of 1,400. And I would like to, if I can get that over the summertime going into the season, that would be great. So, Dom, okay, I'll call you Dom. All right, I'm going to play Let's Go Blue, and then I'll jump in. And if Marmar wants to come up and say a few words, or if anyone wants to come up and say a few words, I'll hang out for a little bit longer. But I started late, so I'm going to end. I'm not going to go too long. Let's go Blue. Let's try that again. Hey, Keegan, how you doing? Let's try that intro one more time. All right, everyone, welcome back to Big Discussions 76 Sports. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar. For those of you who don't know me, I am a Michigan alum. So I was there for, the last run of Brady Hoke. Not Brady Hoke, Lloyd Carr. I was there for the last run of, let me slow down. I was there for the last run of Lloyd Carr. So Tom Brady's final year, Drew Henson's 1 year as the starter. I saw the transition to John Navarre and then Chad Henne, and then I saw the unfortunate coming of the dominance of Jim Tressel and Troy Smith. So I've seen quite a bit of Michigan football. And hey, Michigan won the Nattie in 2023. It was glorious. It was an interesting run. Coach Harbaugh was suspended. Self-suspended by the university for the first 3 games. And then Tony Petitti and the Big Ten came in and suspended him for the stretch run, the hardest part of the Big Ten schedule. Penn State, Maryland was sandwiched in between. I was at that game. And then the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm sorry, Gus Johnson, the world famous Ohio State Buckeyes. So they suspended Jim for that. Sharon Moore took over, performed admirably. And as great as that season was, it was shrouded in a little bit of controversy. I'm thinking about Connor Stallions. I'm thinking about the advanced scouting. And things got very, very testy. Buckeye fan was really, really clamoring for our wins to be vacated and to not allow us to play the game against them. And then they didn't want us to be able to play the Big Ten championship game. They didn't want us to be able to play in the college football playoff. But Michigan was allowed to play. with no sign stealing for the remainder of that season, and they ran the table and they walked away with the Nattie. But even with that, the questions still remained even after Coach Harbaugh went to the NFL and JJ went as well, and Blake Corum and all those vets went to the NFL. The questions still lingered. What's up with Michigan? What's up with that Nattie? NCAA, are you going to snatch that Nattie from them? And even now, if you make content, okay, Ohio State fan and Michigan State fan, you see the random in all caps, cheaters. So it didn't end with Coach Harbaugh going on to the LA Chargers, and so the questions lingered. Okay, what would happen to the program, and what will happen to the program in the years to come? Will the NCAA snatch the Nattie, or what? Will those wins be vacated? I don't know. Buckeye fan was really feeling themselves during that time. My buddy Buckeye Alex, he really went ham during that time. In some instances, became very indignant. And when that was going on, it was such a good season for us. You know, you didn't want to see it end because we had something special going. But in order to keep myself sane and in order to keep myself from not panicking, okay, I took a look at what John U. Bacon was saying. And for those of you who don't know, John U. Bacon is the official, in my mind, the official historian of Michigan sports and Michigan football in particular. I've got 3 or 4 of John U. Bacon's books over there. I've met John. He's been covering Michigan football for a while, so I follow him on X. And John was always very measured when that whole thing was going on. And it reminded me of a saying. I used to be afraid of flying, not so much anymore. But a flight attendant told me if the plane is bumping around up in the air at 30,000 feet, and if the flight attendants are not worried, then you shouldn't be worried either. So John U. Bacon was like my flight attendant. And I was looking at him while all the Buckeyes were like, no, cheaters, vacate your wins. You guys are stealing signs. All this vitriol and chatter was going on. I kept my eyes on John U. Bacon, okay, and what he was saying and what his reporting was. And so I trust him. So I have a short piece here. I'm going to sprint through this. And then Marmarski is there in the chat. I want to bring him up to get his take on this, because this is gonna follow us into the season with Bryce and Chip Lindsey and all the new pieces and all of the upside for Team 146. This is going to, well, let's see what happens. So I saw this on, let's see, please smash that like button. Michigan Public, Morning Edition. All right. I thought it was going to be from Maize and Brew or 24/7 Sports. Anyway, this is entitled John U. Bacon on Moore's likely suspension and Michigan's top concern in NCAA investigation. So they're going with a 2-game self-imposed suspension. Sharon is gonna coach Oklahoma. He's got Oklahoma roots. I imagine he wouldn't miss that one for the world, but he's gonna miss 2 later games. All right. So there's Sharon right there, and apparently, all right. Bear with me, everyone. My computer was being very finicky tonight. That's why I started late. There's Sharon right there. Perhaps that was at Big Ten Media Day last year, because they haven't had Big Ten Media Day for this year yet. I believe that's in the fall, right before the season starts. So there's Sharon right there, looking kind of melancholy. All right. University of Michigan head football coach Sharon Moore is expected to serve a 2-game suspension during the upcoming season. That's according to multiple media reports this week. The suspension is related to the NCAA investigation into the sign stealing scandal at Michigan in 2023. Michigan public sports commentator John U. Bacon joined Morning Edition host Doug Tribute to discuss that and other sports news. Please smash that like button if you haven't. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you are not. So Doug Tribute says, Sharon Moore is likely to miss weeks 3 and 4 of the season. I want to note here that news of the suspension was first reported by ESPN, and Michigan public does not have independent confirmation. The suspension will be issued by U of M, not the NCAA. Sharon Moore was offensive coordinator at the time under Jim Harbaugh, and Moore allegedly deleted a chain of 52 text messages with Connor Stalions. Connor. Stalions is the staffer who was reportedly organizing a system to decode opponents' signs. With all of that in mind, what's the undercurrent behind Michigan issuing a suspension before the NCAA takes any action? John U. Bacon says, well, first of all, nice breakdown. And next time we will get the puppets out to make sure everyone can follow this because it's getting rather ornate. To review, all right, hold on a second, guys. My computer was doing something. All right, to review, everything you said is completely accurate. It should be noted that Sharon Moore deleted all his texts in a panic move by a first-year coach, and that included 52 texts with him and Connor Stalions. They were able to restore all of those to the NCAA's satisfaction, but you still destroyed evidence, which is, as in the court of law, a problem, obviously. See who else here. All right. So Michigan has proposed games 3 and 4, not 1 and 2, because 1 and 2 are Bryce Underwood's first starts. He's the new quarterback. And Oklahoma is the second game at Oklahoma, a very tough one, and also Sharon Moore's alma mater. Basically, it's a plea bargain, and they hope that the NCAA bites to get this thing behind Michigan. All right. My spinning circle keeps spinning tonight, guys. So if I freeze or something happens, that's what it is. Me and Chrome are negotiating over here. All right. Go Blue Maniac. Oh, is this the Oh, it's the Maniac. Oh boy. Garrison. Shut up, man. Maniac, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of your work. I haven't gotten over there to Johnny's channel with you guys on a Sunday yet, but I'd like to get up there with you and Garrison and witness it live on the panel. Garrison. All right. DT. Well, there's also more to the investigation. The NCAA sent an official notice of allegations to U of M last summer, and those include a mix of level 1 violations, that's the most serious type, and then level 2 violations, which are less serious, like the allegations about Moore and deleting the text. What are the biggest concerns for the Michigan athletic department at this point? And then John U. Bacon says there's only really one concern, and that is how will the NCAA see the sign stealing scandal? It's legal to steal signs from your opponent, but not by sending a person to an opponent's stadium when it's not game day with a cell phone, which is what Connor Stalions did. So there's your little precise rule there. So you can steal signs during the game, but scouting in person to steal signs was a prohibited act under the NCAA rules. Johnny Bacon, watch this. You can steal signs in person during the game. You can steal signs electronically when you're not there by watching the game film. You can't steal signs in person electronically before your game. Got it? Okay. And then DT laughs, and they both laugh. Michigan really only has one concern with the NCAA, and that is that they could force Michigan to vacate victories. In other words, give back wins, forfeit, which would cost Michigan a Big Ten title, which was its third in a row. It would cost Michigan its first NCAA national title since 1997. So that's the concern there. The guess is that the NCAA will come below that. Fines, cutting scholarships, things like that, but not actually taking titles away. So there's John U. Bacon's prediction there. Buckeye fan. There's John U. Bacon's prediction. It's not 100%, but he's not expecting the Nattie to get taken away, or the third straight Big Ten title at the expense of your Ohio State Buckeyes. Okay, this is almost done. I'm going to drop the link. DT says, John, before I let you go, do we want to read about the Tigers? Nah, we're talking Michigan football. We don't read about the Tigers unless you guys are Tigers fans. All right, so short and sweet. Johnny Bacon predicts that it's just going to be some scholarships taken away. Let me go back to that again for my own edification here. Johnny Bacon predicts okay, again, Johnny Bacon says the guess is that the NCAA will come below that, fines, cutting scholarships, things like that, but not actually taking away titles. So let's see. I'm gonna drop the link. Marmar's here. Maniac, your royalty, you're welcome to come up as well. I can rock out for about 45 minutes, and then I have to be like the wind. There's the link. Those Buckeye fans, they love coming with the cheaters. Cheaters. You guys cheat. All right, we got Marmarski.
What's up, brother, mate?
Hold on, peace.
Peace, brother. So I share the same sentiment as John U. Bacon. I just think the two games they offered up, Michigan was allowed to pick these games. It compared to any other suspension that it'd be the first four games, and that's what the NCAA does when they suspend coaches. They suspend them for the first three games. Well, Michigan was allowed to pick the games, serve it up, and what I have heard, and the guys in the chat has heard as well, is that the NCAA has already approved them two games because, like I said, you are not allowed to pick the games you're suspended for, and they were allowed to pick these games. So, and serve it up to the NCAA. And like I said, there'd probably be a fine, a couple scholarships. But do scholarships really matter through the NIL now? Is that a major player anymore taking scholarships away and doing a settlement that hasn't been approved yet? The judge already came out and said that they don't want to take the scholarship people away. I mean the walk-ons away from doing their dream and stuff. So what's up, Maniac? Let's go. Put your apron on.
We got the Johnny Olin show on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel me?
Garrison over
And
here.
you know how to bring it. Yeah. Nah, we do not want Garrison.
No.
He stays where he at.
Yeah.
So like I said, I have heard through the grapevine that the NCAA has already approved this suspension because, like any other ordinary suspension, you have to serve the first three games. Well, they're allowing Michigan to pick the games that he want them to be suspended because Sharon want to go back to Oklahoma, and they're allowing this. So if they're allowing this, the hammer ain't as big as everybody thinking. And the fan base of the other schools, we talking about Michigan State and Ohio State, they're gonna be very upset. And when the results do come out and the final verdict do come out, and Michigan don't get the hammer, we won't hear from these Buckeye fans until next year or something. Cause they gonna go in hiding. They ain't gonna be able to talk about nothing anymore. This all they talk about. Maniac. Mello was blowing me up the other morning with images of all this stuff, and I'm like, this crazy, bro. And I was telling Maze and Johnny, like, bro, what's wrong with them? Are they really that deranged?
Yeah. So first of all, man, shout to my brother Big Discussions, man. Keep doing your thing, you cooking champ. Always got to support my brothers in blue. My man,
Facts.
my man Marmarsky, you already know. My man, the world famous Marmarsky. You know, everybody know
Nah, man, that's
Marmar,
you,
man.
man. That's all you,
You,
brother.
yo, you like stop signs. You everywhere, man. That's all good though. That's what we
You
like.
feel me?
You
You
know,
feel
so
me? Yeah.
you
You
know,
know, nice
okay,
man.
okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm
That
saying?
dude
Nothing
got
like
his
this.
weight up. So you
Yeah.
know, regarding and you know, people gonna say that Michigan insiders are biased, but I think John U. Bacon is probably the most credible of them all, right?
Yep.
Remember, they said he was the first one to say Harbaugh to Michigan, and they said he was lying, and they said it's just rumors, and it happened.
Thank you, baby.
So if
Thank you.
he's gonna, you know, these guys know things, right? So if he's pretty much saying that, I'm hoping, right?
Love you
Because
too.
again,
I'm a different.
we still don't know, right? We still don't know. But let's be honest, guys. If there was gonna be vacated wins and things of that nature, the whispers would have been louder from everywhere, not just the opposing fan bases, from ESPN insiders saying, listen, you know, it's not looking good for Michigan. It looks like wins will be vacated. Other people would have been saying that, right? But it's only Buckeye Scoop and Spiro. Buckeye Scoop, Buckeye Scoop, Buckeye Scoop, Buckeye Scoop. Like, come on, man. Like, what are they going to say if wins don't get vacated? If there's no postseason ban? Oh, boy, you guys got lucky. No, listen. It's sad when you call yourself the premier school fan or premier college team of college football team, Ohio State, but yet they're banking on the NCAA to take wins away from Michigan so they could come and put their chest out and say, ha, you see, you guys are the cheaters. You see, no, anyone that knows football knows that Michigan won them games on the field. And if you need anything, right, gentlemen, if we need any evidence, this past season. So you telling me we didn't need Connor Stallions, right? And we beat them with Davis Warren, but with J.J. McCarthy and Corum and Sanistrill and all of them, we needed Connor Stallions. Come on, man. I get it. It's
See,
a toxic rivalry. You see it
yeah,
on Sundays. But at the same time, they got to realize it and just take it
what's
on the
up,
chin
Dom?
and say, you know what? You guys beat us fair and square. But let's see what the NCAA got to say. Then I will respect Buckeye fans more, but they can't be rational. They always got to be irrational with their takes, with everything. This is why big discussion. I get so upset on Sundays, right? Especially, you already know what to do. I don't really want to mention his name, man. I don't want to make him that, but it's just he says things that it's like, come on, look. He's always
Hey,
downplaying Michigan. He's always trying to downplay all our players. Every recruit we get, well, yeah, you know, he's okay. But every recruit they get is A1. They the best. I don't like that. So you know
they
what I
never.
start to
Hey,
do? I start to
maniac,
troll. I start to
look,
say crazy stuff.
maniac, and Dom and big discussion. Listen, Ohio State is never at fault for anything. It's always the other people's fault. It's always. It wasn't Jim Knowles' fault. It was Jim Knowles' fault that he left Ohio State. It wasn't Ohio State bullcrapping him. It was Ohio. It was Jim Knowles. Okay. Um, it wasn't their field goal kicker in last year's game that failed them. It was the win. The year before, it was
Cal McCord. It was Cal
yeah.
McCord.
He didn't know what he was doing. Or the year before, JJ couldn't throw. The year before, we were sick. They
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
never. It's never nobody. Even when they lose to other teams. When they lost to Purdue back in the day, they lost to Purdue. Oh, We didn't come prepared. What? Purdue wasn't even supposed to beat y'all. So
Disgusting.
yeah, it's just it's deranged. It's beyond delusion. It's deranged. It's to the point to where it's deranged now that they talking about well, certain people paying Mays told me this that Mays and Johnny told me that Melo talk about that Scoop is paying for the information. Well, you better
He
get your
does.
refund back. Hold
Yeah,
on. You
so
better get your refund back because the people you get your information from, they just getting you. They curl currency crypto in you right now. They taking all your money for free.
no, definitely. Dom,
How's it going, Maniac?
good evening, my brother. All is well, man. All is well. Talk to us, Dom. How you feeling?
Yo, welcome
Good.
to
Yep.
our platform.
Big discussion. Thanks for having me up. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Hey, I was thinking about this, Maniac. You compared the Ohio State fan to being like the kid with the ball that loses the game and is going to go home. And I was thinking, it's something a little bit more obsessive and toxic than that. What can I think of? And I thought of that guy. We all have one that we know that got involved with a girl. She used him and got rid of him. And he thought he was going to marry her, whatever, and now he's obsessed with trolling her and going after what she doing and trying to find something to prove that he was the knight in shining armor. You know what I'm getting at? That obsession to find something, and it's. I say it all the time, Maniac. All that matters, especially this year, we gotta win on the 30th, got the 29th, excuse me, got to win that game on the 29th, regardless of what the records are, because that'll be a 5-peat and that'll kind of put everything away. I thought last year's would, but this year will be absolute. And, when they start up about Underwood leaving, big discussion, you know what I tell them? One thing I do know, we don't need Underwood to beat Ohio State. And that just that stops it right there. But I mean, I'm old school. I'll be 58 in September, and I'm from Steubenville, Ohio. And I became a Buckeye fan when Woody Hayes went off after the Gator Bowl and hit that Clemson player. I said, I could never root for this, this school. I don't want anything to do with them. And I became a Michigan fan ever since. And unfortunately, the bulk of these people Maniac talks about, younger generation that only knows the Tressel Urban Meyer years. They don't know the Cooper years. They don't want to hear that it was it 34 years, 38 years between 68 and 2002 when they won their first title. They don't want to talk about any of that history. So they need humbled. As Maniac says, they need humbled. And I'm hoping for 4 games this year. Texas, Illinois, Penn State finally gets them, and we beat them for the 5th time. That's really hoping here.
Dom, Maniac, and big discussion. How do you humble a fan base that don't comprehend things?
Yeah. So I tell you this, right? What do we hear on the regular basis, gentlemen? We don't have bad seasons. So this is the one, right? This is the one, because this is why it will be so humbling. And I'm going to tell you, Mama, because majority of their fan base are acting like there's going to be absolutely zero drop off. You lost 14 players to the NFL. On top of that, you lost a lot of veteran leadership on that team. That matters. That leadership matters, right? Especially the Jack Sawyer, the JT Tulamalamoya, Corey Simon. They had a lot of veterans on that team that when things got rough, they could go to the younger guys and say, listen, get your head up. They not going to really have that. Yes, they talent. OSU always has talent. So when they give you that, it's like, okay, what's new? This is new.
Yeah.
There's never been a season where Ohio State lost these many players, right? And you lose both your coordinators, your OC and your DC. One of them is going to be an OC full-time for the first time in his career. And Matt Patricia is coming from the NFL. So you know he's going to have kind of a wink situation where he has to adjust. It doesn't matter about the talent. We had all the talent. We had 3 first-round picks. Of course, Will Johnson wasn't drafted in the first round due to injury. But if he was 100% healthy, that would have been him, Kenneth Grant, and Mason Graham. And he still struggles. So OSU fans, they stuck in that we don't have that. Okay, so you know what? Reality is coming this year. Sarkisian, you don't telling me Texas. Hold on, real quick, Mama. Texas haven't been having that clock up. They ended their season. OSU ended Texas season, and Texas is opening their season against OSU. The perfect get back is to go into Columbus and not only beat them, but whoop their ass. And trust me, you're going to see that fan base in shambles after 1 week.
Yeah, they going to be calling for his head again. We'll fire Ryan Day. But Maniac, they didn't only lose just 14 people to the draft. We talking about other players that was on that team that didn't get drafted. They lost like 20, 23 kids. And that's big. That's big to get back.
You know, really,
it happened to us.
What really bothers me is the national media, especially OSU TV, ESPN.
Yep.
And you I could go down the list. You got Herbie, Galloway, Pete Thamel, guy that sits on Eisen's show, Feldman. You got over on Fox, you got Gus could say he's from Detroit and what have you, but after he creamed his pants on national television when Jackie Sawyer intercepted that ball, he has animosity towards Michigan for some reason. He's a phony about that. And certainly Joel Klatt. You got Urban Meyer. You got Gary DiNardo on the Big Chin channel. And then you got Joshua Perry over on NBC. It's polluted with Buckeye people. And why? And King of the Hill is Herb Street. And he is the reason why Ohio State is ranked number 1 going into this season after losing everything that they've lost. Now, I'm crazy, okay? But I'm telling you, we have to get Herb Street's boy off of the team and out of the locker room. He's not going to play, okay? And if he's there for an education, then go to MIT or go somewhere else. But I'm not buying it. And I really think the guy's a plant to send information down to Columbus because they are that obsessed. And I lived in Columbus for 20 years. I know those people. They're crazy. That's all it is. So he's got to go away. Herb Street's boy got to get removed from the team.
What's your thoughts, Big Discussion?
Yeah, I thought Herbie was kind of I mean, it sounds like the Ohio State fans were a little mad at him for being rational, and his son is coming to our house. So I thought I never looked at his son as being a plant, but I'll defer to you, Don.
But the other thing is that the talk about Herb Street leaving Columbus, Ohio, moving to Tennessee was due to the Tennessee not having a state income tax, and the fans were all over him because he wasn't as favorable or kind to the Buckeyes on television, which is a bunch of crap because the floating rumor in Columbus was he was involved in multiple extramarital affairs. Okay. And there were some other things in Columbus where he was out of there for that. It wasn't because he wasn't giving the Buckeyes enough love on ESPN. The guy's a phony. And that dog he has with him on the road, why do you think that dog's with him on the road? That dog's to keep other dogs out of his bed when he's in the hotel room by orders of his wife. I mean, so.
Yeah.
Damn. What the heat?
I do like when he called the Ohio State fans the lunatic fringe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was. And you know, big discussion. That's the point I brought up. It's a point I brought up. And he mentioned it on national television with millions watching. And it's true that even former players like himself, right? He's an alumni, mentioning it like, yo, yeah, we as a fan base, we're horrible at times, and it's the truth. And I've mentioned it even on Johnny's show. I said, listen, yes, Michigan does have lunatic fan base as well. Some guys that are over the edge. I agree. There's no perfect fan base, but Ohio State takes the cake. And it's not because they're Ohio State. Other fan bases from other conferences say the same thing. It's just not Michigan fans. So it's just the truth. Look, they got to remember something. Again, Mama, how old are you, Mama? If you don't mind me asking.
I'll be 40 in July 26th.
Okay, so I'm 43, right? I was born in the 80s. I was born in 81 to be exact. October 27, 1981. And
Okay.
I saw 1990 is when I became a Michigan fan, right? The 90s for a Michigan fan was beautiful because all we did was beat Ohio State. They just beat us once in the 90s, one time. And before 2001, guys, it wasn't a rivalry. It really wasn't. Michigan was dominating. I mean, dominating. So, you know, for them to act like, oh yeah, because you count the leather helmet days. Charles Woodson was wearing a leather helmet when he played. Tom Brady was wearing a leather helmet when he played. I don't know. It goes from 2001 to leather helmet days. They just skipped the 80s, the 90s. I think they did win the 70s. But the point is this. If they were so dominant and all Michigan wins came during the leather helmet days, by now they should be up in the series, especially when they had two separate winning streaks of 8 games. They won 8 games. They lost in 2011, and then they had another 8-game winning streak, and they're still 11 games down in the series. Come on, man. This is why I don't understand.
One stat that you get Buckeye fans, when you get involved in this conversation, they start talking about that. One stat. I did the homework. I looked it up. The last time Ohio State beat a higher-ranked Michigan team in the game was 1994, and then before that was 1982. So, okay, you guys won all these games, but the last time you were ranked beneath Michigan in the game was 1994, guys. I believe that might have been Earl Bruce's last game, his head coach for Ohio State. But
no, it was still 94. No, it was still Cooper. It was Cooper 94. It was still Cooper.
I'm going to have to get on the computer and Google that because I believe they won Earl Bruce's last game as the head coach of Ohio State. In fact, he's like the only Ohio State coach that I could really appreciate. Woody was off his rocker. I couldn't. Cooper, you know, great recruiter, choke artist. Tressel, I mean, he's from up the river in Youngstown, but he did his own set of cheating in the vest, that holier than thou with the hayseed in the mouth, like we're from Ohio, we're good church going folk, we don't cheat around here. It's just a front. And then, you know, you had Urban Meyer, and now we got, you know, Mr. Just for Men and wearing blush on the sidelines like a woman, Ryan Day.
Oh my goodness! All that extra Botox in his face.
Yeah, but we know. Look, we know. This is one thing we know right now. We have the blueprint to beat in Ohio State. It's been proven 4 years in a row. Can we keep that blueprint going for the 5th year, right? And again, how is Chip Lindsey, how effective he's gonna be as a play caller and helping a young quarterback like Bryce Underwood, right? It's good having someone like Mikey King, a veteran like Mikey King. I know guys, fellow Michigan, I don't like Mikey King. Bro, it's not whether you like him or not. You need that experience there. You know, someone Bryce can lean on and say, listen, what do I do? Listen, Bryce, you had him open. When you see the cornerback creeping like that, he's either going to blitz or he's going to go into zone. You know, someone that could really break it down to him. You need that, like a brothership. This is how I knew the 21 season was going to be special. I saw that K. McNamara and J.J. McCarthy had a good relationship in 21. Now, when K left Michigan, maybe it was a different situation. But in that 21 season, it was about the team, the team, the team. And as long as Michigan could keep that mentality, right? Because that's what we talk about, right? The culture, the culture, the culture. This is what players talk about. I remember Dom, the first time I ever hear Dom talk was right after the Fresno State game. We did the post game, and he mentioned that losing Ben Herbert, right?
Yeah.
That's culture. That's big, man, because this is a guy that installs that toughness in your team, right? And someone you believe in, that you know he's going to make you tough, that you know we're going to be ready every game, win, lose. We're going to be ready. We're going to lose not because we're not physically ready. We're going to lose just because this team was better than us. So,
And with with the guy that took over from Ben Herbert, I think he got it together, man. You can see in the last 3 games that it started to pay off. He knows Ben Herbert's system, and we out tough Ohio State in their own home, especially in that fourth quarter. 7 first downs to their 0 first downs. They got nothing in that fourth quarter. And then you only scored 10 points, and you still going off that we cheated, and we didn't have none of the coaching staff that were in the game the year prior. You had a whole new coaching staff. We even had their running back coach from last year on the other sideline, and we beat them with Mullins. There was a couple of good plays, but we beat them with Mullins.
You said it. You talk about the blueprint, but you said it. As long as the game between Ohio State and Michigan's close at halftime, that's when Ohio State starts to panic because of that second half dogfight. You said it. And I'm like, that's it. That's hitting the nail on the head. And I last year heading into the game, everybody thought I was crazy, but I knew that Ryan Day would fold. He can't take.
Dom, I got the receipts. You saying it. You saying it, Dom. I'm not going to lie. I got to give you your flowers on that. I wasn't as confident. I'm going to be honest. I was just like, I don't know. But you knew it. You said, no, we're going to go in there. Ryan Day, you said his butthole was going to get this tight. He's going to squeeze it and get nervous. And it happened just the way you mentioned it.
And to add on to that, Dom, I was telling people that the week at work prior to the game, I told them, I said, if the game comes down to halftime and Ohio State up 13-10, Ryan Day is panicking in that locker room. Why? Because this has happened before. They went up in 2022. It was 20-17. Michigan came out, scored a touchdown to Coastal Loveland. That was the first touchdown of the third quarter. And then it got ugly. Well, Ohio State got a field goal, and then with J.J. McCartney ran in that touchdown on the second and goal.
Third
and goal, and then now that puts us up 31-23. And then the 2 runs made it. The Donovan Everett run that was 45-23 in no time. So again, when it comes down to the fourth quarter, if you're not built for the fourth quarter, Michigan will dominate you.
Well, I'll tell you what, Marmar. I don't see how Ohio State didn't pull Khalil Mullings down behind the line of scrimmage last season on that third down, that fourth down run.
Yeah,
third and six.
That's all we had, and they squirted out and dashed up the sideline.
The wheel, that's the Michigan difference. That's what we trying to say here to these Buckeye fans. It's a different breed of men up there in Ann Arbor. Sharon has kept the culture, and he a lot of y'all on the Johnny show, on the Mays show, on the TJ show, y'all all say it. Jerome is a leader of young men. He's getting the best out of them. And what he did in them last 3 games, and whatever he did on that bye before the Northwestern game, whatever they did, he found something, tweaked it, and it showed. It went 50-6, and then it went 13-10, and then it went 19-13 in the bowl game. You held 2 powerful offenses to their lowest of the season, 13 and for Alabama, and then 10 for Ohio State. Something clicked, and then in the spring game, they didn't really show nothing until the end. Like I said, if you watch the last 48 seconds of the spring game, you'll see the interaction between Bryce and Jerome. They know what's coming on that play. The defense don't, and they gave us a little snippet of what Chip Lindsey is gonna be doing in games, and it left the fans in that stadium with something to hold their heads up on compared to going into the season last year. See, when I walked in the stadium this year in the spring game, I was confident. When I walked in there last year, I was uncertain. Yep. When I walked into the first game in Fresno State, I was uncertain after the second quarter because I'm like, what's going on here? Yep. What's going on? This ain't the same. And then the whole last season, we kept our hope. We kept getting let down, and then the last 3 games happened, and then not all the depth that's coming back on the defense. There's so much depth on the defense. It's gonna be hard to beat Michigan this year. It's gonna be really hard to beat them because that depth is gonna be.
Yeah, a lot also has to do with health, right?
Yes.
Keeping players healthy, and I think that's the advantage or the beauty about having depth, especially at the D line, right? Because if you could constantly rotate fresh bodies, man, you going it's going to be a lot of damage done, especially in the fourth quarter, right? And Wink, it looks like he finally had a grip on the defense and said, okay, I now I know what to do moving forward. And hopefully that same momentum we had at the end of the season comes right into this season. Because we might early on have to lean on the defense a little more because, we don't know what Bryce is going to be right off the gate. Now, the beauty is that we do play New Mexico, and this game should not be close by any means. By any means. This should be a minimum 4 touchdown win. But regardless, I just want to see execution. I want to see Bryce make some good throws, right? I'm not saying I want to see him chuck it 40, 50 yards 7 times, at least 4 times minimum. But again, get him ready for Oklahoma because we know that that's going to be the game early on.
Yeah,
that's the measuring stick. New Mexico, we know we that should be a win. Our defense shouldn't give up no points until garbage time to the fourth quarter. With our first string defense, they should, bro. They should not give up a touchdown, man. But it is college football. Things happen. But I expect Michigan on week 1 to win handily over New Mexico, and then Oklahoma, gentlemen, is going to show us what this team is about early on. And we're going to have, a good look at that. So it's going to be, and expected to be a night game. So, the jitters all day, we're going to be talking. Oh, my God, bro, I can't wait. I need this kickoff already. The nerves are in there. So it's going to be interesting, especially in week 1. If OSU gets their ass kicked like I'm expecting, they're gonna be watching that Oklahoma game like, come on, Sooners. We need scum. We need scum to lose.
Great point, Maniac, that you bring that up. If that does happen, they will not be on our shows after the pregame of Michigan beating Oklahoma and them losing to Texas. That's not going. We are not going to hear that. We are not going to hear anything from them.
You know what, Marmo? You were saying about the last 3 games of the year, and I went on Johnny's show the day after the game, and we were talking about the game. And I told Johnny prior to the signing of Underwood and what had transpired leading up for the bulk of the season, I was starting to worry that we're going back to the Hoke, Rich Rodriguez days where I'd watch games, I wouldn't have confidence and almost wait for something to go wrong and for the team to quit. That's what I was starting to feel like last year. I was starting to go, man, after all this work to build this back, we can't go back to that. And then before the Northwestern game, Ohio State and Alabama, we signed Bryce Underwood. And not only with the culture of Michigan, the fans, but I really believe the players, especially the younger players that knew they were coming back, I believe that totally shifted it where we're buying into this now. This season was just like a fluke season. We're going to do what it takes to make sure we don't return here and we get back into the winning tradition and winning a Nattie every year. They said that's not Michigan football. Being Michigan football is being in the game, being physical, and beating Ohio State. Those are the only things that really matter to me. If you get to a national title, outstanding. But to me, over everything is beating Ohio State, and got it this year, and it's been paying last year. It's been paying dividends all year because it ruined their national title. They could talk about
And Dom, and
Donald.
that's all. It matters to us. It matters. It may not matter to the Buckeye fan base, the game anymore, but it matters to us
Yes, it does.
because
It matters to them too.
we've been through 20 years of downfall and listening to them chop all the time and chop off at the mouth, and now it's our turn. They don't like it, and it has to be cheating because all of a sudden they beat us. Do you understand when the 2020 season was canceled? That gave Michigan a lot of time to regroup, redirect the focus of the rivalry in that game, and not just on Ohio State. It was on the other schools too. Yeah, we lost to Michigan State in 21, but we still came out and smashed Ohio State, went to the Big Ten championship, got to our first playoff. Yeah, we weren't gonna beat Georgia, but we was happy we was in the playoff finally, first time ever. And then the next year we went
I
in overconfidently. And then this time in 2023, they did all that mess. They came out with all this scandal and this Burger Gate and all this, and they still prevailed. That's the mantra of a Wolverine, a real Wolverine. And that's what we do, and that's what we're going to continue to do. And I think Sharon Moore is the perfect fit for this, and because he got them boys ready. And another guy I want to point out, his name is Bobby Conca. Kakanka, whatever his name is, defensive end. Check him out
Yeah,
in the spring game. He got a
yeah,
Mason Graham type feel. I'm trying to tell
yeah, no,
y'all, he was getting pushed. He was pushing. He was using his hands. I'm saying, man, I like his leverage. So our
yeah,
defensive line is so deep, so deep. And
Mo-
then when Nate Marshall come, I hate to lose Bennett. Bennett was a dog.
yeah.
Losing him was big. People may not think so, but if you watch the spring game, Benny had showed out.
You know
He was
why?
doing his thing.
Momo,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna tell you why.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Because you mentioned them too. My man,
Sorry to
my
interrupt.
man D.
Thank you for
All
having
right, Doc.
me up. Sorry, guys.
My man,
All
Thank you,
right,
Dom.
Dom, brother.
my man DN, Dominic Nichols.
Nichols, yeah, bro.
Yo, I'm telling you, he's gonna be a dog. Bro, I've been liking him since last season. And that's the beauty. You know, Bennett, again, he's a veteran guy there. Maybe, school, he found the opportunity and always shout to the players, right? I don't like fans who bad talk players who transfer or recruits who don't pick their school. I never bad talk any recruit that didn't pick Michigan, that had Michigan high on their list, because that's pettiness. You got to go where you feel there's best. But I think Michigan is equipped this season to make a decent run. Do I think we a national championship team? No. But But now college football, man, the trajectory has changed a lot. That we're not going to see these dominant teams like we've seen in the past. There's going to be so much parity now all across the landscape of college football, where Michigan is a team that don't be surprised if they in the Final Four in the playoffs, if they make it, or perhaps even make the Natty, because again, the parity is there. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Georgia's going to be real good this season. Watch out for Clemson. This is going to be one of Dabo's best teams that he's had in years. So, you know, there's still going to be a lot of schools that are going to be very good this year. And this, you know, I'm eager. And I love college football. I've always said it that there's no better regular season in any sport like college football. Absolutely not. That's my opinion.
Hey, facts. I be. Hey, listen. I keep telling people I'd rather skip summer and get right to week 0, man. I'm ready for that.
You heard my mom.
Yeah,
Put me to sleep and wake me up when it's
yeah,
Saturday morning.
Yeah, man. When I'm in Ann Arbor, man, because I'm going to the first game.
So I want to ask 2 things. I saw Moose. Shout the Moose in the chat. Moose, you said
Moose?
Meadows. Is that Meadows that committed to Alabama, the receiver, and now he's on flip watch?
No, the defensive guy.
Oh,
hold on, let me
the guy, the 5-star.
Yeah.
No.
Hey,
Who we?
I was say, fellas, I got to.
Yeah, he's talking about. Yeah, he's talking about. Yeah,
Okay.
he's talking about Meadows. He's talking about Meadows from the defensive guy.
All right,
He's turning to Princeton.
Yeah,
But
it's
hey,
all right.
listen,
Look,
I'm trying to tell y'all. Sharon about to drop the album called Flip Season 2 EP, Season 2, because he about to flip a lot of guys. Just watch out. See, it ain't no point. TJ told me that it's no point to put all your eggs in the basket right now. It's May. Why you want your recruit class right now? Yeah. You want kids that's going to sign and stick to your school. It's no point because these guys are gonna flip once the first early signing period. Signing day comes. By December, these kids gonna be flipped.
Definitely. Well, big discussion, man. Listen, my brother, I appreciate you. You know, I'll be checking in a little more often, you know, Wednesdays whenever I can. You know, I got 2 little girls, it's tough, but you know, I'm here to support all my brothers in blue, man. Anything Michigan, I'm here to support, man. And you're a good brother, I could tell. You know, appreciate you, Mama. You my brother, man. You know, even though, you know, we had that little small friction, but I was Mickey Mouse shit. But you know, we're gonna definitely meet next time. I might, Mama, don't sleep. I might
Come to
just
the New Mexico game.
I just might do it. I might do it.
Let's do it.
I might do it, but I'll let you know. Me, Maze, and Johnny was talking about it. We might just head out there, get there. I'll get there Friday morning. Boom.
Okay.
Saturday, and then just probably leave, on Sunday morning. But I'll see. I'll let you know.
I appreciate it.
You guys
all
too.
right, man. Thank you. Big discussion. Have a good evening, my brother. And like always, go blue, baby. Go blue.
All right. Marmar, you got anything else?
Nope, man. I appreciate you having us. Thank you. I told them to come over here and cook. So you can get, you can get the point of views of the other Michigan fans and the other guys that do this. I give them big ups. I give you big ups. Thank you for letting me come up here, chill with you and rap with you. My guy was tuned in. The guy I told you about, my brother, my nephew, my big aunt. Shout out to him. God bless you too. And I hope that manifests and that connection is built, and we keep on trying to change the lives of the young ones that's coming up. Coming up now, and get their. Let them know that they can do everything is possible. Anything positive. We keep feeding these kids this negative stuff because that's more easier than doing the positive stuff. So yeah, man, thanks, big up, man. I'll text you.
Okay.
All
All right,
right,
everybody.
appreciate you.
All right. So again, once again, John U. Bacon's forecast is that the Natty won't get ripped. I'm gonna end out with the I'm gonna end out with two words here. One from Lou Holtz. This is one of my favorite Lou Holtz drops. Taking the wood to Ryan Day.
He has lost to Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Michigan twice, and everybody that beats him does so because they're more physical than Ohio State. And I think Notre Dame will take that same approach.
Unfortunately, Notre Dame didn't do it that night, but that's still a classic drop, and we're going to end with Brady.
They didn't know how to count.
Yeah.
We understand what Michigan football means and what Michigan football is. We will always be about the team at Michigan. This is never going to be about Brady Hoke.
Salute to Brady Hoke. He didn't have the best tenure, but he had a lot of good drops and on-camera moments. So
Yes, he did.
a lot of on-camera moments. So, all right, everybody, have a good night. Go Blue. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. The information for my book is in the description box in case you want to read about it or learn about it. I did just publish a sports-related book, but I need to wrap up. And yeah, I'll talk to you all the next time. And once again, go Blue.
Go Blue.